Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the SHICHIDA Shining Stars podcast, a podcast where we address all the questions parents have about early childhood education. My name is Mr. Dan, and with me today is a very special guest, the Centre Manager for our SHICHIDA Chatswood campus, Taryn Magua. Hi, Taryn.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Taryn is here today to help us talk about EQ. So, some people might not be aware of what EQ is, Tazzy, but in a nutshell, could you please explain what is EQ?
I'd love to do that, Dan. It's a very, very important part of anyone's life. EQ is the measurement of your ability to understand and manage your emotions.
Okay, so EQ is a bit different to IQ. A lot of people might be familiar with IQ, but how does EQ differ from IQ?
Yeah, so IQ measures your ability basically to solve problems, to think logically. But of course, you need both of them. You know, the IQ definitely complements the EQ and vice versa in order for you to contribute to different areas of your life. So this is why it's so important that children are able to develop both of these so that we can have that well-rounded, holistic child.
Okay, so you need both sides of the equation. You need that, the intelligence to solve things critically, but you also need that emotional intelligence, which is EQ, right? To be able to manage your emotions and grow up, maybe not just as an academic, but as a person.
Exactly right, exactly. So somebody with empathy, someone with understanding and compassion, someone who can contribute to the world in different ways and not necessarily just having that IQ, but knowing how to deal with people and treat people.
Yeah, definitely a very important aspect of everyday life, right? Like, we're always talking to people in our daily lives and having to deal with people on a daily basis. So having the emotional intelligence to be able to understand other people's feelings is quite important. How about for kids specifically? So like when we are talking about kids that are in the SHICHIDA program, they're very young, some as young as 6 months old. But how is developing EQ at that stage of life important?
Yeah, so Mr. Dan, you can start as young as possible. EQ is important for children because they get to regulate their emotions and express their feelings, demonstrating things like empathy and compassion. And obviously recognizing and naming their own emotions as well. So high emotional intelligence is definitely linked to better mental health, academic performance, and social skills as well. So able to interact with anybody that they come across. And, that could just be in the format of teaching your child just the good manners of treating others with respect and kindness. And that can start from a very early age, just by saying thank you and appreciating somebody who's serving you a plate of food, say. It starts right down at the very little toddler. And of course, a baby, especially in the SHICHIDA program, we have activities that enhances that skill so they're able to recognize mommy or daddy giving them something and then them, reciprocating and saying thank you. So just a little thing like that can really build that skill in a child.
Because I guess kids at that age, they don't really have a full concept of what is right and what is wrong, what is good behavior and what isn't good behavior, because, everything is really new to them, right? So the natural instinct for a child may be to throw a toy, for example. It's not that they're trying to do something wrong, right? It's just that is their natural instinct. That's what they want to do at the time.
Exactly. It's like a cause and effect kind of thing. What happens if I throw this? What's the reaction around me going to be?
That's right. Okay. So it's important to kind of like show what the reaction is.
That's right. Modeling behavior. That's right.
Correct. All right. So you talked about how SHICHIDA does foster EQ in children. Can we get a little bit more specific about like the kinds of activities that we do at SHICHIDA that helps foster EQ, and maybe some things that parents might be able to do at home as well to help teach their kids kind of emotional resilience and development?
Yeah, of course. So at SHICHIDA, we believe engaging the hearts of children, we engage their minds. So we always teach fun, love, acceptance, and praise within all of the classes. And Makoto Shichida, who obviously is our founder, he believes that when you raise a child's EQ, their IQ will automatically increase.
Okay.
So there's a few of the things that we do, and one of them is our mindfulness exercises. So in the beginning of the class, we sort of get the children into that alpha wave state where they're really calm and content and able to receive as much information as they can. And we start with, just calming down their breathing. Also, we have an activity that's called the Words to Polish Your Heart. This is just teaching them life skills, how to treat people. How do we feel when we treat a person in this way? And we have a series of these words to polish the heart that go right through the curriculum. And eventually in the primary program, they get to pick their favorite, like one that's really resonated with them through their years at Shichida. And that's a really heartwarming thing to see. And they love to give examples of why we should or shouldn't be doing something as they grow up in the years. And then in the primary program, we do a lot of group discussions and debate.
Okay.
And this is really amazing to see how these children collaborate. They see the side of everybody's argument and they're able to collaborate with that person without getting into an argument. For me, that's one of the best things that I think Shichida does, is just raising those children who are able to, speak to anybody from all walks of life and being able to discuss things without getting angry because that person perhaps doesn't agree with your thought process.
It's cool that they do start this kind of activity quite early on. Like you mentioned, the energy bubble and like the controlled breathing, that's all part of EQ. But by the time they get to the point where they're able to kind of not only articulate themselves, but also debate and come up with arguments for their point of view, that's when it really comes out. And we can kind of see how all the foundational work that we've done from the early years, it has led them to this point where they're able to understand another person's point of view and also convey their point of view in a way that doesn't result in arguments.
Exactly. It's actually a lot of fun, Mr. Dan, when you see them coming up with their thought processes. And it's really, really an exciting part of the program too. And it's wonderful to see children get to that level. They really are so young, but they are so mature.
Yeah, they are. In the primary program, they're still only 7 years old, 8 years old, right?
Correct. So, that's right.
Yeah, really young to be able to do that kind of thing. Do your debates ever get heated?
I guess you could find one or two that are really passionate about something.
It's that cats versus dog argument, right? That's the one that always triggers them.
Exactly. But I always find that they find that common ground where they can relate either way and just find a good thing about whatever it is they get given. So, they're just grateful. And I think very blessed to be able to have those skills that will help them in their later years as adults in the adult world, which, as we know, is not an easy world to be in. And if they have those skills, they'll be A for a way.
Yeah, definitely. Makoto Shichida's program is often referred to as soul education, not just educating the mind, but also the heart and the soul. So trying to create well-rounded individuals, not just academically, but, morally and ethically as well. So that makes a lot of sense. But going back to what parents might be able to do at home to help foster EQ in their kids. So let's say, like, if I had a toddler, for example, and I was kind of having a hard time, because, the terrible twos,
yes.
They can start, throwing tantrums and whatnot. What's a good thing that I could practice at home to kind of help my child through that difficult period of life?
Well, Dan, as we know, parents are the first and best teachers of any child, right? Obviously, here at Shichida, we can assist and we can help grow that child, but parents are obviously the ones who have to deal with those terrible two tantrums, etc.
Yeah.
So I believe that they play the most vital role in the program because the children will look to them first. And with those parents engaging their hearts with love and praise, you'll definitely see their EQ and their IQ rise. And modeling behavior, showing compassion to others, definitely foster that ability to raise their EQ. And then, like you mentioned, the terrible twos, perhaps a child just throwing a tantrum, etc. It is the parents' responsibility to take control of the situation and explain to them why that is not the way we have to behave. And there's so many ways to do it, but we could have our listening ears on, and we can be kind to the friend next to us. And, there's so many easy, good ways of talking to children and validating their feelings. And I think that is one of the very important things that we need to remember is children have feelings and they have questions, and we need to respond to those questions and needs. And even just in a small child, like a 6-month-old, as you mentioned, just a little thing of smiling, laughing, cuddling with that child is so, so important, that contact that you have with them. And, that they feel special, that they feel loved. These are all really, really important in raising that EQ.
Yeah, we often say that kids at that age between 0 and 2, they're absorbing everything around them, right? And that's not just about information, but also emotions. Like I often say to parents, kids feed off our energy, right? So
100%.
If we're getting frazzled, then the kids are going to get frazzled as well. So I guess as tough as it is sometimes, the best response to a tantrum is just to stay calm ourselves and
exactly.
talk our kids through it in a calm and loving way, because they will feed off that energy as well.
Obviously, as you mentioned, if you address that sort of situation in an enraged state, that child will definitely feel off your energy and, respond in the same sort of way. But when you can actually get down onto their level, speak to them, give them those words of love and praise, they will understand that, okay, well, maybe what I did wasn't right, and mummy and daddy are telling me to do this, so maybe next time I will do that. And you usually find that those sort of children are really adaptable and can change in different communities that they're with in terms of how they behave. They know what's socially acceptable and what isn't. That is just so important in today's society.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Thank you, Tazzy, for your time and your insights into EQ. Yeah, remember, everybody, your baby is always learning and absorbing information from day one, so it's never too early to start supporting their learning. The SHICHIDA program is a weekly 50-minute learning program using fun, brain-boosting techniques for children aged 0 to 9. Each class accelerates your child's development by providing the vital elements for them to thrive and excel. For more information on how the SHICHIDA program has been helping parents and kids get an early start on education, visit www.shichida.com.au. You can enter the coupon code FUN50 to receive a 50% discount off your first lesson. Alternatively, you can follow us on Instagram at SHICHIDA Australia. You can join our Facebook group to be part of the conversation, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel to get instant access to a wealth of parenting and early childhood educational videos. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you again, Taryn, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Dan. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time.
All right, guys, until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.